TBTL.
Hey there, welcome to another edition of Hey Dummies. This is the newsletter video where we, the dummies, answer your questions. Before we get started, though, this week I have to just continue what I was doing right before I started this video, which is having my only enjoyment in life now that I'm on this ridiculous water fast, which is this liquid IV, peach flavored, no calorie additive. This is not an ad for this company, but we wouldn't turn them down. Got to be honest with you though, one of these guys, 16 ounces of water, and that'll satisfy you for over 4 minutes. So just going to enjoy my lunch here while I'm recording the video. The question this week comes from listener Christina in Everett, who says, you both have talked candidly about your anxieties on the show. What are some of your go-to methods for dealing with those anxieties? Hold on, Christina. I will tell you that is delicious. It really is. I'm here in the sort of half put together Madrona Hill studio, which I don't know if I've actually recorded a Hey Dummies from sitting at this microphone here. So welcome everyone. It's still, kind of a work in progress, but we're getting there. Christina, how do I deal with the anxieties that I have? Well, sometimes effectively and sometimes ineffectively. I think probably the biggest thing for me is trying to realize in the moment what is happening. In other words, when I'm starting to really spin out or catastrophize, like realizing that that's what's happening is really, really big. Because I'm sure if you're an anxious person, you could go hours and maybe days with, as one of my therapists used to say, your shoulders up against your head, right? Like basically because you're so tense. But I think when I'm able to, in the moment, understand what's going on, then I'm able to take a step back from it and kind of break this cycle of anxiety. That can be really helpful for me. Just to kind of say, look, Luke, right now you are imagining the absolute worst case scenario, which first of all is rarely the outcome of things in life. And also to remember that if that is the outcome of whatever the thing is I'm anxious about, if it goes as badly as my brain is telling me it might go, that if that is what happens, me having today ruined being concerned in advance about that serves no purpose. That's a kind of a basic, I think, like maybe Marcus Aurelius kind of Stoic principle, which is that, basically we're not in control of what happens. And so spending any time at all worrying about something that we can't control is just really doubling down on the sort of bad feelings that you're going to have. There's something too about the whole idea of Stoicism is basically like, none of this matters. So therefore, there's no reason to be anxious about it. You could take none of this matters as a sort of a nihilism kind of approach, like nothing matters. But it's just more like nothing is really important enough for us to allow it to make us severely anxious. Another thing, too, that I picked up recently, I have a lot of anxiety around performing, believe it or not, considering my job often is performing. But like, when I'm doing live wire or something in front of a bunch of people, I picked up this tip from Aparna Nansharla, the comedian, who, by the way, wrote a really great book called Me, Myself, and My Imposter Syndrome. And if you're somebody that struggles with anxiety, I would highly recommend it. It's a very interesting read. But one of the things that she talks about is a kind of a mantra that she does before she does a performance. And you could apply this to anything in your life. Like if you are going to have to give a presentation at work, or if you're going to have a hard conversation with someone in your life, or if you're going to have to do something that's scary for you. The thing that I've been telling myself before I have to go on stage, and I'll just do it at any time when I feel myself starting to get up in my head about things. By the way, that's a whole other side conversation, is like breathing and getting into your body. Our bodies are pretty good at managing anxiety, and our brains are pretty bad at it. So Christina, if you find yourself up here breathing, doing things like self-acupressure, stuff that gets your thoughts out of your brain and down into your body, that can be really helpful. But the Aparna mantra that I've been saying to myself is, it's okay if I make a mistake. I think a big part of my anxiety around performing is that I'm going to make a mistake. It's going to derail everything, and I'm going to look very foolish, and people are going to not like me. But in fact, it's okay if I make a mistake. And just giving myself permission, just saying to myself, it's okay if you make a mistake. You're allowed to make a mistake. I don't know why that is so liberating, but it is really, really helping me lately when I find myself getting super anxious. It's okay to make a mistake in life. And the other part of this sort of mantra, or whatever you want to call it, little coaching session, is to say to yourself, I've done this successfully before. So it's okay to make a mistake, and I've done this successfully before. And you just say that to yourself over and over again. And if you're me anyway, it has a way of just kind of puncturing this balloon of anxiety that I have, that is often generalized. I don't know if this is how it works for you, Christina, or any of the other people watching this, but it's not even a specific thing. It's just a feeling that you're having of just anxiety. And if you can kind of, in my experience, you kind of zero in on what you're really worrying about and then apply some of these principles. And for me anyway, it helps kind of lessen the feeling. There's also this thing that I've talked about on the show a lot, and I'm already making this video too long, but I think it's called, in some quarters, it's called the perhaps principle. And the version of it that I heard is that there's this farmer and his son, and they're, they have one horse, and the horse runs away, and the son says, well, we'll never be able to plow our fields. We're going to starve. This is a disaster. And the father says, perhaps. And then the horse returns the next day, but it's brought another horse with it that it just found. And then the son is like, this is incredible. We have 2 horses. Everything's going to be great. And the dad says, perhaps. And then the new horse is wild, and the son is riding the horse, and it bucks him off, and he breaks his leg. And then the son is like, well, this is the end. Now I can't work. We're going to starve. And the dad says, perhaps. And then the next day, there's a war is declared in this land, and the army comes, and they're taking all the young men, and these men are all going to die. And they don't take the son because he has the broken leg. And then the son says, this broken leg saved my life and made everything okay. And the dad says, of course, perhaps. The point of that, which is not overly complicated, is that you just do not know how life is going to unfold. And so trying to control it, that's a big problem I have. Feeling anxious about what the outcome might be. It really misses the fact that we do not ever know what outcome is going to be, good for us or bad for us. So there's really no reason to feel anxious about it if you can kind of remind yourself of that. So I don't know if that was particularly useful. I'm not a mental health professional at all. I'm just a guy here drinking peach-flavored water because he's anxious about how he looks. So you win some, you lose some, Christina. Anyway, thanks for subscribing to the newsletter. Thanks for being part of TBTL. And we will see you right here with next week's video. Bye-bye. Boy, I couldn't drink another bite.